All right. Okay, great. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this launch of the Big Creative Industry Network. We are so thrilled that you are with us today and also hopefully for the rest of the program. I am going to hand over to Maria in a second, but I just wanted to give a quick one-liner for those who do not know about BIG. So BIG stands for Business Innovation and Growth. It's part of the South London programme for support to boost businesses' growth in South London. And it was created by the South London Partnership, which is basically a collaboration of 5 London South boroughs, which is Croydon, Kingston, Merton, Richmond and Sutton. And this was done in recognition that businesses in the region could benefit from a post-pandemic boost to reignite growth. And of course, we are on a mission to help businesses tap into the resources and expertise and facilities available at the universities and further education colleges across South London. So I will tell more about our program, but I'm going to hand over to Maria to tell you a little bit more about the university.
Thanks, Bernette, and welcome all to the Big Creative Industries Network launch. It's brilliant to have you here. I will briefly share my screen and show you just very few slides, which are primarily introducing Kingston School of Art, who is the part of the Kingston University that is leading on the Creative Industries Network. So first of all, the Creative Industries Network aims to maximize opportunities for the creative industries in South London, as Bernette just said, by bringing together businesses, researchers and students in South London. And sorry, I think I've got my Teams popping up all the time. I didn't know how to make this stop. Apologies. So very briefly, my name is Maria Kaji-Christodoulou, very long surname. And together with Bernette, we're leading on this network. My role at Kingston University is to work at Kingston School of Art as someone who supports research, business and innovation activity across the school. And we've been working closely with BIG, and we're delighted to be launching this network and leading on it, one of the 3 networks that were funded by BIG. So through the network, we aim to facilitate knowledge exchange, activity, networking, peer-to-peer learning opportunities and other collaboration opportunities for creative businesses in South London. And we'll do that through offering a program of workshops and events. And Bernette will tell you more about what that schedule is specifically in a bit. Our vision for the network is that this will be a long-term platform for resources and collaboration and community in South London. So we hope that the network will remain in place and will be sustainable after the end of this course, and that it will continue to bring together businesses, creative businesses in South London alongside universities, researchers, local authorities and other stakeholders, so that we can work together to take full advantage of any opportunities that come our way, and indeed to create opportunities where it is possible. So I'll just say a few words about Kingston School of Art for those of you who are not familiar with Kingston University and Kingston School of Art. So first of all, just to say we are called a school, but we are a faculty. And what this means is that we're quite a big structure. And in the Kingston School of Art, we have 3 schools. And I'll say in a bit which those are. Although we are an art school, we offer subjects and expertise in a range of areas, and I will introduce these. And our ethos is very much around practice and making. So our logo is thinking through making, and we very much believe in learning and in researching through practice and through making. And that means that we work a lot with industry. and we both support industry and various businesses in their own ambitions for development, but we also work with industry to support our students in their learning process and careers. So I think what defines Kingston School of Art, from my perspective at least, is that practitioner or maker ethos that I just talked about, but also the fact that we have world-class facilities. And we see this as a resource that isn't just for the students, but also for the wider community. And I guess that's why it is important for us to be part of programs such as BIG that bring together businesses, communities, and universities, local authorities in South London. Because that they can be, our facilities can be much better used by local communities and local businesses to develop the economy of South London. I talked about the practice-based approach to learning, but also to research, and also working with businesses and communities is part of kind of our mission and what the university wants to do more going forward. So this is how the school looks. And the structure doesn't matter, but just you get a taste of what types of subjects and so what types of expertise we have in the school. So we have 3 schools that sit in under the Kingston School of Art umbrella, the School of Design, the School of Art, and the School of Creative and Cultural Industries. And within those, we have quite a broad range of subject areas, and that means also quite a broad range of researchers and experts in all these areas of illustration, animation, 3D design, graphic design, fashion, art, architecture, landscape, performing arts, film, photography, creative industries more widely, which includes arts and business. I really do apologize. I thought I had turned my emails off, but I probably did something wrong there. Critical and historical studies, publishing, journalism, media, humanities, and we have foundation courses. So that gives you a sense of the expertise that we bring together in Kingston School of Art. And of course, we also work on thematic kind of agendas with colleagues from other parts of the university, such as the business school, the sciences, on issues such as, for example, sustainability, circular economy, and so on. We work a lot, as I said, we work a lot with industry and with businesses and communities. And there are so many examples of projects and activities that we do with partners in the community that it's always really, really difficult to know which to choose. And so I just chose this one because I will then pass on to Robin Hutchinson, who is the CEO of, might not be CEO, but director, I can't remember, sorry, Robin, of Community Brain. And he will say a few things about Community Brain that we work with very closely. And so this was a project that my colleague Kathy Gale from the Design School did with Community Brain and Robin, and it's called the Museum of Futures. And the Museum of Futures was a sustainable community space in Surbiton that perhaps Robin will say a few more things about later, or you can ask if we have time at the end, we can kind of expand on those examples. Another example is I chose Dr. Helen Wickstead because he's a colleague who is really active and quite well known in the local community and has worked very closely for a great number of years with organizations such as Kingston Museum, Kingston Libraries, but also local schools, the Korean Cultural Association, quite a broad range of community stakeholders. And those projects and the work that Helen has supported, like with Community Brain, is more about community development and work that looks to support students in local schools, a different type of stakeholders, creative and cultural organizations, and so on, and publics, of course. But so we do a lot of that work, but it's about offering our expertise and skills, knowledge, understanding through academic staff and also through the student cohorts that those work with to develop different types of activities and initiatives in the community in South London. But there are also many examples of us working with industry business partners to develop the companies, to develop the vision, the aspiration of the company, or take it in a different direction, and in effect kind of have a positive impact on the local economy. And so such an example is a knowledge transfer partnership project, for example, that I led in the past with a company called Footprint Scenery, which is a stage design company based in South London. And the purpose of the project, that was funded by Innovate UK and the Arts and Humanities Research Council, was to develop the Footprint Scenery into the immersive design studio in London. I don't know if we achieved it or not. We had various challenges, but certainly it was a really brilliant experience for everybody. And a lot of work and development work was done around thinking of how a Footprint can develop a USP around immersive design and immersive experiences. And then another example is Konstantinos Halaris, who also is a colleague in the design school. Has had a long-term collaboration with Body Shop, for example. And again, this was about thinking of how we can enable circular consumer behaviors through user experience and material cycles. So this is just an example of packaging that he researched different types of packaging that the Body Shop could use that could be reused and recycled and take on a different life after the end of the first life cycle, if you like. So here you see a box that then becomes a planter. And there's many examples. It's really beautiful work that Konstantinos has done with Body Shop. I didn't want to take too much time, and I didn't want to tire you at the beginning of this launch. So I just was looking for just a couple of examples, just for you to kind of imagine what kind of collaboration there might be possible working with our students and our staff. And you will hear from colleagues in today's event, but also you can always contact myself or Bernette with any questions, or if you want to have a discussion before committing to the program, we'd be really happy to talk to you and understand your needs and advise on whether we might have relevant expertise in what this might look like. So that is all I had to say. If you have any questions, please do put in the chat. I will now stop sharing. And I will pass on to Robin, if that's okay, Robin. Robin Hutchinson, Director of Community Brain and one of our closest partners. And we're really so happy to be able to work with Community Brain on quite a huge range of projects through many partners and colleagues in KSA. Robin,
cool.
Are you here?
So I think my bit is primarily to tell you all why it's worth working with the university. And I have to say, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel it was one of the most valuable things that we've done. So I'm speaking at the moment as the Community Brain, which is a community interest company, but I'm also a chair of Creative Youth, which is a youth arts organisation up to the age of 26. We organise Fuse International, which is an international festival celebrating the brilliant work that young people do. And I'm still a Rose trustee, having been a founding trustee 137 years ago. And I think I've always kind of been disappointed that we don't make as much as we can about the creative industries within Southwest London. We did some research with Kingston University many years ago to find out that we have a disproportionate number of people who work in the creative industries based within this Southwest London area. Now, of course, a lot of them actually historically used to get on trains and carry out that work in the centre of London and in other places, but increasingly actually their industry is bedded where they live, which means actually Southwest London has this incredible, unique opportunity and proposition, which is how do we make the best of having this many creative people, individuals, organizations, startups, and existing in this area, and how do we make it a real selling proposition, which is my interest, for where we live. In other words, to make sure that anybody who's thinking of doing something with a creative twist thinks to themselves, if I'm going to base myself somewhere, Southwest London is the best place for me to locate. And those people, young people who are going through our universities, don't think of migrating to another part, but actually see instantly that actually it is better to stay in and around the place that they studied. And therefore, a big part of that is actually showing young people and the universities why it is worth staying here. And we've been lucky over the last 6-7 years to have developed an amazing partnership with Kingston University. We work with other universities as well, but I want to talk primarily about Kingston at the moment. And as Maria has said, the School of Art has been a very good and active partner for us, but increasingly we're also working with the business school and with the engineering faculties as well, as we realise that actually creativity has no boundary. It doesn't sit within a particular discipline. It's actually an attitude of how we go about doing things, and that creativity, that fresh approach, is going to be increasingly needed as we chart our way through these fascinating times we find ourselves in. I'll talk briefly about a couple of projects, but truthfully, you want to really listen to the people from the University South London Partnership talking about how you can become engaged. But again, I stress, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't see the value in it. In the last 5 years, we've probably had nearly 1,000 university students working with us. Now, actually, what have they brought to the work that we do? They bring an insight, they bring a freshness, they give us an opportunity to stand back from what we're doing and see it from a different perspective. Weirdly enough, when you are my age, which is now approximately 231, you can sometimes lose sight of how the world is changing, and they will bring with them an energy and a vibrancy that you should respond to. You know, it is always difficult because there is that element of tread lightly because you walk upon my dreams, that what we do is so precious to ourselves, we don't really want it prodded and looked at from. But actually, of course, it's the greatest asset that you can have. And not only does it bring the students involved, it actually brings their lecturers and their tutors and that professional experience as well. And that's a really great partnership. And partnership is vital. Do not underestimate, pauses for breath, how important it is to actually, and what asset it can be to have the university as part of your partnership team. We're very lucky at the moment. We're working with the Greater London Authority, Network Rail, South Western Railways, a lot of perceived, blue chip organisations, or certainly a coloured chip organisation. And there is no doubt about it, seeing that the university are active partners in what we do is a real asset to us, almost makes us look grown up at times. And so don't underestimate actually what it's like for the CV of the work you do. But it is so much more than a stamp of quality. It is the fact that they bring this freshness and really enlightened thinking to what you do. I suspect many of us sitting in here, depending on the scale, I'll try and do that in English, depending on the scale of your business, are at the moment really struggling on how do you get to the end of the day. And it's very difficult to take those sort of strategic sit back opportunities when really, actually, you're just wondering if you'll still be in business by the end of the day. And I think what the university brings into this is that ability to step back, but also, and the important thing is the network. And the network means actually there are other people you can talk to about the position you're in, the problems that you've got, and the opportunities. And again, we find that one of the most fruitful and helpful things that we can do. We've experienced it from, and Meg will speak later, but actually bid writing and the ways in which you can present yourself and look from the outside world. We've experienced it in incredibly practical ways, like the Museum of Today, where you can get university students coming in and testing a space. We have a space called the Farm of Futures, which is now actually run by ex-Kingston University students. We find real asset. We are currently about to start on a project looking at the importance of industrial estates in the future of UK PLC, that awful expression. And we'll be working with them on understanding the circular economy, actually what the future of an industrial estate might look like, celebrating its past, but also projecting to its future, and giving ourselves that chance of being ahead of thinking. And again, it's because of the asset of the university, we've been able to bring in 39 different partners, strategic down to people who make widgets, to talk to us about their ambitions and their aims. I'm about to shut up, which I think you'll find one of the most beautiful moments in your life. But another project that we're working with Creative Youth is the development of a place which will be called Fusebox in the Undercroft under John Lewis, where we are making a new centre for creative industries and individuals to come together and realise their brilliance. We wouldn't be embarking on that if it wasn't for the sort of support we can get from the university and the college and other partners like the South London Group in our thinking. So there you go. You can now get back into enjoying yourself because you've heard enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. That was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed that. Probably the highlight of my day. Thank you so much for giving us all a quick whistle tour through all of the positive things that you've done with the university and the impact it had. And I will tell a little bit more about the program in a minute, but I just wanted to hand over to Meg to just give us a bit of an idea of the work that you do. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hi, so thank you, Burnett, and thank you, Robin. So I'm Meg Jensen. I'm a professor of English literature and creative writing here at the university. And over time have discovered that as much as my students love to, read books and write stories, they also need jobs and need food and need to support their families and that kind of thing. So it's been very important over the last several years. We have developed a degree in creative and professional writing. So I've helped to develop this material. So I've been studying for the last several years work around, strategic writing and strategic thinking. So I will share some slides with you now. I'm going to introduce you to a few of the ideas that I'd be exploring in the longer workshop in November. So let me just share this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this the longer workshop, which would be entitled Bid Writing and Business Storytelling. And I keep the idea of storytelling in there to bear in mind that I am not a professor of business. I am a writer. So my interest and the way in which I approach the subject of selling, of raising money, of obtaining funds is very much by drawing on skills that I actually have, right? I don't have an MBA, but I do know how to tell a story. So that's really where my starting point is. The requirements of writing for business purposes are quite complicated, as you all will know. And in this workshop, I'll be thinking about how best to meet these various demands, how to develop a company story that is compelling enough to attract clients, but is also flexible enough to fit the varied demands of business communications. To begin with, every business has to regularly write or submit words in some or all of these genres. Your company name, your hashtag, your strapline, your vision and creative statements, mission and philosophy statements, bids, tenders, pitches, proposals, product and product instructions, investor business plans, proposals, brand identity briefs and supporting texts, internal communications like human resources, equality, diversity, and inclusion, business development, product naming, menus, packaging, programs, catalogs, public relations, reputation management, marketing, website, and your social media presence. It may be that you write sometimes in other genres. These are some, that came to my mind. If there are others that you do have in mind, please do put them in the chat, and I can include those later on in the workshop in November. Now, whether you're coming up with your company's name or strapline or marketing strategy, each of these genres will have very specific conventions. So you would want, for example, a catchy name, a memorable strapline, and you need to have a cost-effective marketing strategy that never strays from your company's central mission. There is room for creativity and originality, and even for breaking down some of those conventions. You might remember the Greg Bakery's incredibly successful vegan sausage roll Twitter campaign, where they trolled Piers Morgan, or the new body positive Victoria's Secret reboot and rebranding that's been happening. They've replaced the entire board with women. But these attempts to break new ground in terms of communication succeed or fail according to how aware those companies are of the conventions and the expectations they're challenging in what it is they write. Another complication comes from the forms in which these genres of writing must be communicated. And again, if you have other ideas beyond these, please do put them in the chat. So those forms might be hashtags, product names, proposals. They must be delivered to their very different audiences through emails, social media, billboards, bids, reports, and other forms, proposals, marketing policies, and that kind of thing. So that's where things get really tricky, because while genres have conventions that may or may not be played with, forms have rules that really can't be broken without a very good reason if you want to maintain a professional appearance. So in your emails and new business letters, those still have to follow a very specific kind of form, because forms have rules. And the thing is that the sum total of all of these different kinds of words that you may be using in your day-to-day business, these things are your company's narrative. They are your company's story. They are the presence of your company in the world. And because this is your company's story, you need to learn how best to tell it and how best to control it. So in the workshop, we'll be thinking about how well you control your story. Could you tell the story of your company better? Can each member of your team tell the story of your company? And can you tell that story in all of these different genres and forms? In my workshop, I'll be teaching you techniques and approaches to help you tell a catchy and compelling company story across all these diverse, strict forms and flexible genres I was talking about, using both strategic thinking and strategic writing. We'll draw on tried and tested storytelling techniques and strategic communications first described by Aristotle, the great philosopher and storyteller, adapting his 3 modes of persuasion, what he called ethos, meaning credibility, pathos, meaning emotion, and logos, meaning logic. Now, don't worry, you don't need to remember any of these or memorize them. It'll all be explained to you. It's really just a process for thinking through how we can persuade people in an effective manner. So these persuasive strategies, ethos is about getting your audience to trust you. It's about establishing credibility, making your audience think you're fair and honest. It's an appeal to shared ethics, which can convince people that you are the person from whom they should get this specific product or service. Pathos. So pathos is about getting your audience to feel, creating an emotional response in your target audience, thinking about your audience and what will engage them, what's going to make them laugh or cry or be moved to action. And the action would be to take up your service or purchase your product or attend your event. And finally, the third persuasive strategy is logos. Logos simply means the logic behind your argument. It's about building a solid argument and providing evidence. The best argument is where the audience works out the conclusion just before you give it to them. So we'll be learning about these approaches to establish ethos or authority and credibility with your various audiences. Pathos, to tell a compelling story that touches your audience in a heartfelt way. And logos, using logic to convince your audiences to buy into your story and therefore your products and services or events. And then once you're happy with your company's story, you might wish to use it to attract funding of various kinds. So in this workshop, we will also introduce you to the key techniques of writing those boring old forms that we need to do in order to support our work. So things like writing tenders, proposals, funding applications for grants, competitions, and other donor sources, using a wide range of bid writing skills. These skills will help you identify and attract appropriate funding and other resources for the development of new ideas and the expansion of your network. So what is bid writing? Bid writing, tenders, proposals, these are all forms of technical forms of writing that have specific strategies that can be learned, can be taught, can be learned, aimed at acquiring funds through written applications of various kinds. And these applications might go to research councils, to the lottery fund, to charities, to private donors, government funding, or maybe to higher level executives within your own industry or your own company. Perhaps you're looking for funding for a specific project for your team. So you need to write to the CEO of your group to see if you can get that money. So all of these kinds of writing involves filling in various stages of application forms, each with its own set of rules and word count, expressions of interest, the main application. You would need to create some kind of realistic budget and cost-effective budget. And at the end, usually you need to complete a report. So these are all hugely important steps in raising funds, growing your network, growing your company. And I'll be introducing you to these. And we might think about, and I say this to my students, why bid writing? Why should I learn bid writing? I'm a novelist, I'm a poet. Why do I need to learn bid writing? But whether you're an artist or an academic, an architect or an organizer, a member of the third sector, the skill of bid writing is increasingly a huge part of day-to-day operations in many, many, many sectors, and very much in the creative industries. There's an increasing need for the skills of writing to a brief, writing for fundraising, bid writing is an identifiable skill gap. Learning to become a successful bid writer and learning the ropes and the strategies of bid writing and professional writing more generally will allow you and your company to pursue the things that are most interesting to you. to take ownership over projects and be an asset for any employer, or indeed as a freelancer. And this is all about using the company's story that we will help you develop, and being able to fit it into all of these different potential forms that you need to complete for fundraising purposes. Also, in my workshop, we'll think about how other kinds of storytelling skills can help your company as well, towards things like network building, donor mapping, market awareness, resilience, tailoring, concept notes, and the like. So finally, this workshop will teach you how to create a persuasive, compelling story for your company that can be adapted to suit all the forms, genres, and platforms through which you need to tell it. And it might even be fun. So I'm just going to have a look in the chat and see if anyone does have questions. Let me stop sharing my screen first.
Meg, there was a question about applications, and then also about a good story in cookie policy, which I've said that these are 2 points that you definitely cover in your workshop.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. All right, so I will include them in the workshop. So thank you.
If there's any other questions, any burning questions, we can answer it now. Otherwise, we can just keep it till the end of the presentations. For the reason that we are obviously recording this, and so if otherwise, I'm going to hold that for a second. If there's any burning questions, otherwise we can hold that until after I've spoken. It's just still Alison to just give a brief overview. Meg, that was brilliant. That was really, I felt also very calming as well, and really good to know that the pattern about credibility, and then going into the emotion, and then having that all backed up by some logic. It's something to take away, just at least from today's conversation, and to build on that. So thank you very much for that. And I hope that really stirred people's interest to attend the workshop, which I will give some information about shortly. That was really good. Thank you so much for that. I will hand over to Alison to give us a little overview of your workshop. Please, Alison.
Thanks very much. Thank you for doing this, Vanessa. I really enjoyed everybody's presentations.
Alison, it's really
Vanessa?
echoing on your side. I don't know why it's echoing so much. I don't know.
Shall I push it to the earphone? That makes it better. Sorry. Quickly unscramble them. Is it echoing badly?
It is echoing quite badly. Is there anything else that is on in the room?
No, completely empty room. Is that better? Can you hear now?
I think that makes it even worse.
Oh dear. Right.
Alison, earlier when we spoke, there was no echo before the call. I didn't think that there was the echo. I don't know if is your mic turned on really loud, or?
May I suggest, Alison, just for a moment, try with your video off, just in case that helps.
Try with my video. Okay. Well, I'll put my screen up to do that. But will you still be able to see it then? So you should be able to see my slides now. Because if I wonder if I just move into the corridor, if that's the thing to do.
Alison, if you use your headphones again for 1 second, and then if you head over to the little microphone down in the bottom left of your screen, and just make sure, well, I'll wait for you to reach this point. So you put those on, and then if you go down to the bottom left of your screen under microphone, you should have a couple of options under select a microphone. If you just change the one you're using, that should hopefully sort the issue.
Sorry. I'm going down to the bottom of my screen and doing what?
So there's a little option that says mute. If you click the little arrow next to mute, it should open up a menu. And into that menu, there should be a subheading that says select a microphone.
Sorry. So let me read this. Better.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Right. Jolly good. I'll just go back to my screen sharing.
I think you're still echoing for me, Alison. Can you say something?
Hi. Can you
Yeah, I got 2 highs there. I bet you only said 1.
I certainly did.
Yeah, Alison, there's not a chance that you might have this application open twice.
Perhaps, why don't, Bernard, if you were to provide your presentation now, and I will send Alison some messages in the chat, and hopefully we can sort her microphone.
If there's, maybe Alison can come out and then come back in again.
Yeah.
Maybe that will work.
In the meantime, I think, Bernard, if you were to provide your slides and your little piece, and then hopefully it'll all be sorted by the time you're done.
Okay, I shall do that. Let me share. Hopefully I won't have a problem sharing. Am I? No, it doesn't look like I'm sharing. Oh, I think I can still see Alison's slide. I am having a problem to share, but so I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm just going to present and just talk it through, because it's not like major information that needs to be seen. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the program. I can't see the screen right now, so if anybody wants to ask a question, then I'll just ask Rebecca to grab hold of those questions, and then we can cover that in the end. So I've spoken earlier about what is BIG, and it's obviously a fantastic program or initiative. And then out of BIG is one of these networks, which is called the BIG Creative Industry Network. The launch is today, and it is running for a year until October 2023. Now, this particular network or this program as such has got 4 key stages. Now, the first one is today, where we are launching, and we are just telling you about us as a university and the academics that is working as part of this program. And obviously there's more, as Maria mentioned. Maria gave a wonderful overview of all of the initiatives that we are doing and that we are responsible for and that we've achieved. And then Robin then obviously gave a fantastic interesting review of where we've been involved, and it's just fantastic to know everything that we've been involved with in the past, and also where we are growing in the near future as well. Now, this network is there to help businesses to grow and innovate. And so the first key stage that we are involved with directly after this meeting today, so as of tomorrow, is anybody that is interested in joining this program, which is, of course, there's no financial cost to any of the businesses that joins us. Of course, as we've all mentioned, the creative industries or any functions within the creative industries is very, very important to us. And we are on an absolute mission to make this grow and develop, and really want to help businesses within this industry to flourish. So it is, we are putting all our strengths together to make this happen. The first stage is that I will be calling all of the businesses that indicate that they want to join, all of the SMEs that want to join this program. This program consists of workshops, as Meg has given us a fantastic overview of her workshop. Maria is also delivering a brilliant workshop, and then Alison will be delivering a workshop. Those of you who came through the website might have looked at the workshops, and I will briefly, no, I can't share it on my screen, but I will run through it. But then, we've got the 6 workshops that will be delivered during the end of October. It will be the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd of November. These workshops will be done all online, and then we will be followed directly after that with a networking event, so that we can all just meet each other in person, and then continue building the network. But as part of the initial first health check, the diagnostic health check, this is a one-to-one call that takes place so that we can understand your business needs, and we can then also go into a little bit more detail about the workshops. If there's any questions that you want to ask, then this can take place over this call. Then there is also the second point, or the second stage to this, after the workshop, is something which is called the consultancies. Now, the consultancies is a tailored process, which is only for selected businesses. We select, but these businesses also is going to open and explain that they need this particular help. There is a process where we are matching that with our skill sets within the university in terms of our students and our academics. So this is basically where there's a deeper dive required within the business. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for both a business and, of course, also for a student and academic. So what does look like? So I'll go through this again. The first stage is today. The second stage is I will be calling all of the businesses that shows interest and wish to join this program. We run through a diagnostic health check to see where you are, what is your needs, and whether the workshops is what you would like to do. You would like to join these workshops. So there's 6 workshops that takes place, as I said, in the first week of November, and then that can be it. Following these workshops, there's going to be another consultation on a telephone call, where we run through basically the growth plan with yourself. We then look at what is required to implement this plan within your business, so that there is something which is bespoke and tailored to your business for what you've learned throughout the last week, during the first week of November. If, however, there is a business that needs, like I said, a deeper dive or further consultation, or there's a bigger problem or a bigger challenge, or another opportunity as such, for example, we want to help deliver a new business, a new product, a new service, or a new process. This is where we can then, through the selection process, then support this business or businesses. Like I said, there's opportunity for 9 to 11 businesses, where we then place a student with you to work through this consultation process. The problem or the challenge or whatever is at stake or on discussion at that point in time will be led by an academic. So the academic will then say, this is how we will then solve this problem or challenge, or grow this service, or grow this process or product. And then the student will then come and work with a business. This will be paid by us as the university for this period of 1 to 2 weeks, providing that this product is then delivered. There's also then for opportunities of 2 businesses where an academic can work directly with the business, or the students can be with an academic in these cases. So then, as I mentioned, there's also the development where a business can then continue, if this is of interest in employing the student, but that's a different conversation for a later stage. So this is of course brilliant opportunity to look into the workshops that we are delivering and our academics are delivering. is bespoke to businesses, to your needs. Each workshop is an hour and a half long, delivered online, and of course the benefits, as mentioned on the website and also shared through the emails with you, it is bespoke, it's academic led, it's designed to achieve growth and innovation in businesses. It's you as an organization have access to cutting edge insights into any future industry developments, as Meg have just given us some really excellent insights, peer-to-peer learning. Of course, a very, very important point is that you will be able to meet with like-minded businesses and continue networking with these businesses immediately and an ongoing future. There is also, of course, the opportunity for one-to-one mentoring with leading academics, and then the sharing of opportunities and challenges to reignite and grow the creative industry sector in South London. We have got another a creative cluster that we are also working on to again bring talent and bring awareness to close this gap in the South London, the 5 boroughs that we've mentioned earlier. So that is a very quick just the overview of the program. We really hope the businesses, all of the businesses on here on this call today will be able to join us to come and learn and learn from us. We would like to learn from you. Join the program and join the workshops. Again, like I said, there's other businesses joining as well. And this is about just growing and developing, and hopefully at the end of this there will be a move forward with a product that you might have, one of your services, or even a part of your processes to really help and develop growth and innovation in your business. My email address is I will share it in the chat. But again, this whole process is led by Maria and supported by all of us. So we really look forward to welcome you to join us all. And if there's any questions, please stay on the line after Alison talked about her work and all the excellent work that she's actually working with the university and that she's bringing also into the market. So the registration form is on the website, which I will share the link in the chat. However, any questions that you have, or if you would like me to just give you a call tomorrow for the next week or two, I would obviously be delighted to do so. So hopefully, Alison, are you ready to
yeah, let's have another go. Can you hear me better now? Have you got a...
This is perfect, absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Over to you, Alison. Thank you so much.
Not at all. I just lost the... When I came out, I must have closed the...
It was on there a second ago, but it's disappeared now.
I know, it was on my... Sorry about this. It was on my desktop. I had it open before, but it must have got gone when I... Sorry, there we go.
I'm just want to say, I can see all the chats, all the comments. I will work through this now, and then once Alison presented, then we will be able to take. We will stop the recording, and then we will take the questions in a live chat.
Great.
So thank you.
So you can hear me now without an echo, can you?
It's absolutely perfect.
Great. And can you see my PowerPoint? Great, yep. Lovely. Well, I'm sorry about that very difficult start, but I'm glad we were able to overcome it. So my name's Alison Baverstock. I'm actually the Professor of Publishing here, but I have a background in business. I was a publisher for many years. And in fact, I started off teaching direct marketing and marketing within the business school. Publishing studies within a university, I think, is a really good starting point for the kind of network that we're offering, because it's a blend of professional practice at a really high level, but it's also combining that with academic research. academic thinking. And what we're teaching people is how to operate in the current business environment, but also giving them a set of thinking points and skills so that when the unexpected happens, which it will, they've actually got some sort of structure to impose on chaos and to think about how to move forward. So I'm going to give you, my research is largely, I've done a lot of work on bibliotherapy, which is the use of books to ease situations. So within military families, I started something called the Kingston University Big Read, which is a shared book that we share each year for all our new students to make them feel welcome. And I've also done a lot of work on creativity, where it comes from, how to maintain it. And I'm just going to give you a flavour of the resilience workshop that I'll be running. So thinking firstly about what resilience is, I always think definitions are useful. And really the two that struck me were this business, the capacity to recover, but also it has meaning in science, resilience, that something that is resilience can bounce back into shape. And I thought both of those were quite useful starting points for thinking about resilience. As ever, I mentioned that looking at the research and what that can tell us and what ideas that can give us. And this is a sort of research metaphor for two papers that came out during the pandemic, because obviously we've been put through this very difficult period. But while that was going on, there were academics monitoring how businesses were coping. It's the first person to mention Dern, 2021, used a boxing metaphor for her study of entrepreneurs in London at the beginning of the pandemic, looking at things like how long people can keep going for, how to deflect external circumstances that are difficult, how to plot your next move. And then Communion in England in 2020 looked at how the pandemic actually opened up existing fissures within, it accentuated difficulties that already existed. And both of these, I think, are useful frameworks for thinking about what was happening to the rest of us. Often when you read about somebody else's experience, it's exactly what happens when we read novels. We actually can project ourselves into a situation without feeling personally got at. And so looking at research is really, really useful. But it's not just about how individuals react. There's also some really interesting research that we can share with you and discuss and see whether it's relevant or not. I've just picked out a few examples here. The one I particularly find interesting is Gill and Orgard, who are looking at self-help books. And one of the problems with self-help books is that they usually identify the problem as being within the individual who's trying to improve their performance. Whereas actually it may be better to look at societal inequalities or structural difficulties within an organization that need to be changed. So rather than just blaming the individual, to look at what needs to be changed more widely. Another one, Neusinger and Serafini looked at performance resilience. So in other words, how belonging to a network can actually improve connections within people and encourage them to raise each other's strengths and consciousness by sharing information. There was a lovely quote, actually, our strength comes from connection to each other. So this is the kind of literature that I'd be seeking to share with you to see what we can learn and what we can benefit from. I think it's worth also exploring why resilience matters to you and your organisation. And it's particularly important to note that resilience is not innate. It's something we have to work at. We have to develop and then we have to keep going. But the uses can be enormous. It can help you simply keep going. It can also enable more realistic goal setting, because it isn't just a question of keeping going whatever. It's about establishing goals that are relevant to you and your business and then thinking about how to move forward. It's about managing your time effectively. So you do the things that are important rather than the things that are urgent. And you distinguish, you look longer term in order to promote business effectiveness. And when you do develop resilience, you can become a much more effective manager of the wider team who are working with you. And that can lead to the survival and the development of businesses that would otherwise not flourish. As I mentioned, resilience is not innate. It's something that we have to develop. This is something I've looked at a lot actually within military families, because they're often assumed to be resilient, something they have to work at. And I think it's interesting to think about what blocks our resiliency, what are the things that get in the way. And we would be encouraging you to reflect on past life experiences where you can identify situations in which you've been required to have resilience and actually found that you had more available to you than perhaps you were willing to initially acknowledge. This was just an example of mine about when I started doing this sort of work on myself, where I thought back about a particular teacher I'd had at school who had some pretty unorthodox teaching methods, but I just kept going. And I think it's very helpful sometimes when you identify situations in the past where you have demonstrated more resilience than perhaps you're aware of having initially. It's also important to think how you can motivate yourself to develop more resilience. I've worked a lot with creative writers about how they keep going and what kind of signals they send to their wily brains about how they should keep going. And there's a picture, I don't know if you can recognize what that is on the right, but it's actually a tunnel for coming out into a sports stadium. And I quite like you to use the metaphor of sports people, because if you're a sports person, you have all sorts of little mechanisms that help you get in the right mood in order to achieve. And they include things like putting your pants, lucky socks, putting them on in a particular order, or having lucky pants, and exiting the tunnel into a sports venue in a particular order. These are all little signals that people send to themselves in order to fuel their resilience. And I think there's a lot of benefit to be gained by sharing the things that we do to help ourselves make ourselves feel more resilient. And also we can look at some working models. The one I've shown you is from Rhonda Schaller, where she uses the four, she calls them the four elements, earth, air, fire and water. But there are other structures too for thinking about how to create resilience and how to keep it going. So that, I hope, gives you a flavour of what we can offer. It's a blend of professional experience, lots of access to relevant literature, the chance to pool ideas with us and with each other, and in the process to develop greater resilience. I'm happy to share these references if you want to go and look up the papers. I haven't mentioned everything that I've actually put up on screen, but it's all relevant to the subject. So we do hope to work with you, and that's been interesting. I'll just come back to the full screen in case there are things people would like to share or comment on.
Thank you, Alison. That's excellent. Appreciate that. And I just wanted to also just say a big thank you to all of the other professors and academics joining us on the call today. We've got Martha Mador, we've got Amanda, Saha from our business school. So just wanted to let you all know that you are in excellent hands. And then we've got Kate also on the call today, also won awards this year. Although I can't actually stop talking about all the awards that we've been winning, and as a university as a whole, it's actually so many, it's just coming through on emails these days because they're listed as bullet points. So I'm doing a little bit of work on my credibility point here, Mick. I hope this is coming through thick and strong. And then of course we've got Christy and Ewan on the call as well as Steve Skinner, and of course Marcus, a big support from the Creative Cluster. So the floor, I'm going to stop talking because I just want to say a big thank you to everybody, and I really hope that we've got a big storm of businesses joining our program, so that we can make this a huge success, because we'd be so delighted if you are all joining us. So I'm going to ask for the recording to be stopped so that we can open the floor for any questions.